Welcome. This is the homework solution for week 6. I'm going over the solution for Tuesday, September 10th. The instruction says solve the equation, then check your solution. If you need help, look at Monday's homework. Okay? Everything on Tuesday are two-step equations. All right? Number 1 is shown here. 5x minus 5 is equal to 25. First thing is always to rewrite the equation. It's 5x minus 5 is equal to 25. Draw a line straight down. What I have here is I have a 5x and a minus 5. I deal with the most outward thing first. In this case, it is the negative 5 that I want to get rid of. So, in this case, how do you get rid of a minus 5? It is to add 5. Sorry, I wrote 4 here, but it should be a 5. Okay? This cancels out. What I have left over on the left-hand side is just a 5x. On my right-hand side, the 25 plus 5 becomes 30. Good? Now, it looks like yesterday's problem. Monday's homework. It becomes a single step now. So I have a 5 times x is equal to 30. What is the opposite of multiply? It is to divide. So I'm going to divide by 5 to both sides. Once I divide 5 to both sides on my left hand side, 5 divided by 5, right? That cancels out. What do I have left over? An x. On my right hand side, 30 divided by 5 becomes a 6. So I have x is equal to 6. Number 2, I have 4x plus 9 is equal to negative 43. First step is always to rewrite the equation and draw a line straight down. Separate the left from the right. Here, okay, I have the 4x plus 9. The most outward thing is the plus 9. How do I get rid of a plus 9? It is to minus 9 or subtract 9. So I subtract 9 from both sides. The plus 9 and the minus 9 on the left-hand side gets canceled out. What is left over on the left-hand side is a 4x. On the right-hand side, negative 43 minus 9 becomes negative 52. Again, if that is difficult for you, just plug into a calculator to double check. Next, you want to get the x alone by dividing by 4. Why do you divide by 4? Because right now, what is attached to the x is 4 times the x. You see, it's multiplying by 4. So you're going to divide by 4 to both sides. The 4 over 4 on the left-hand side cancels out. So what you have left over on the left-hand side is an x. On the right-hand side, negative 52 divided by 4 becomes negative 13. Number 3 and number 4 are shown. Number 3, x divided by 5 minus 4 is equal to 3. Okay? First step is always to rewrite the equation. It's x divided by 5 minus 4 equals to 3. Draw a line straight down to separate the left from the right. The first thing that I need to do is add 4 to both sides because, again, that is the most outward thing to the x. Okay? So I add 4 to both sides. Once I add 4 to both sides, the minus 4 and the plus 4 cancels out. What do I have left over on my left-hand side? An x minus 5. What about the right-hand side? 3 plus 4 is 7. Okay? Now, right now on my left-hand side, I have a divide by 5. Okay? How do I get rid of a divide by 5? It means to multiply by 5. So I'm going to multiply by 5 to both sides. When I multiply 5 to both sides, okay, the 5 and the divide by 5 cancels out. Do you see that? That cancels out. It makes the number 1. Okay, what do I have left over on the left-hand side? An x. What do I have left over on the right-hand side? A 35. Okay, notice the cancellation on the left-hand side leaves the x alone. That is the reason why we do the inverse, or the opposite. Number 4, 7x plus 2 is equal to 1. First thing that I do here is I subtract the 2. Well, the first thing I do is rewrite the equation, then draw a line straight down. Okay, now let's do some opposites or inverses. Okay, I have a plus 2. That is the most outward thing. So here I'm going to subtract 2. Subtract 2 to both sides. Okay, why do I subtract 2? Because this cancels out. The plus 2 and the minus 2 on the left hand side cancels out. That is good because now what we have left over on the left hand side is your 7 over x, and the right hand side 1 minus 2 becomes minus 1. So now you have x divided by 7 is equal to negative 1. This is like a Monday problem. Okay, right now it's divide by 7. So what is the opposite or the inverse of divide by 7? It is to multiply by 7. That is the reason why I multiply by 7 to both sides. The 7 over 7 cancels out because it makes the number 1. What do I have left over on the left is an x. On my right hand side, negative 1 times 7 becomes negative 7. So the negative 1 times the 7 on the right hand side becomes negative 7. Okay, so that is your answer for number 4. Number 5. Okay, ignore this. Okay, ignore that. That's just trash there. Okay. X minus 5 divided by 5 is equal to 4. First thing that I do is rewrite the equation. Draw a line straight down. Okay, what is the most outward thing here? So right now, it's x minus 5 divide by 5. So that divide by 5 here is the most outward thing. Okay, you can't add the 5. Okay, the divide by 5 is the outward thing. So here, you would have to multiply by 5 because that's how you get it to cancel. Do you see how it cancels? So on the left hand side, once this cancels, I get an x minus 5 on the left hand side. On my right hand side, 4 times 5 becomes 20. So here you have to multiply first. That is how you get rid of that fraction. Okay, now it's x minus 5 is equal to 20. This is like a problem from Monday. The opposite of minus 5 is to add 5. So I do that to both sides. The minus 5 and the plus 5 cancels out. What do I have left over? On my left hand side is an x. On my right hand side is a 25. 6. I have an x plus 5 divided by 5 is equal to negative 2. Rewrite the equation. X plus 5 divided by 5 is equal to negative 2. Draw a line straight down to see the left and the right. Again, you deal with the most outward thing. So here it's x plus 5 divided by 5. So that divide by 5 is your outside thing. What is the opposite of divide by 5, or what is the inverse of divide by 5? It is to multiply by 5. So the 5 on the left hand side cancels out because once we do the inverse or the opposite, they cancel out. So what do I have left over on my left hand side? And x plus 5. What about the right hand side? It becomes a negative 10. Negative 2 times 5 becomes negative 10. Now it's like a problem for Monday. It's x plus 5 equals to negative 10. The opposite or the inverse of plus 5 is subtract 5. Make sure you subtract 5 to both sides. What do I have left over on my left hand side? The plus 5 and the minus 5, those cancels out. What do I have left over now? On my left, it is an x. On my right, negative 10 minus 5 is negative 15. Plug this in your calculator. Some of you think this is like 5 or negative 5. No, it's two negatives add together is a bigger negative. Okay? So that is your 5 and 6. 7 and 8. Again, ignore this. This is just trash. I was just using it to make the animations. Number 7. 6x minus 10 is equal to 3. First step is always to rewrite the equation. Draw a line straight down to separate the left from the right. You have a 6 times x divided by 10. What is the most outward thing here? Okay, it is the divide by 10. So you are going to multiply by 10. The 10 on the left hand side cancels out. So once you multiply by 10, this cancels out. So what do I have left over on the left hand side? I have a 6x. My right hand side, I get a 30. 3 times 10 becomes 30. Now, it reminds you of a problem on Monday. We have 6x equals to 30. So what do? Right now it's 6 times x. So you're going to multiply. So right now it's already a multiplication by 6. So you're going to divide by 6. So divide by 6 to both sides. Notice the 6 over 6 cancels out. What do I mean by cancel out? It makes the number 1 because 6 over 6 is just one whole. What do I have left over on the left-hand side is an x. On my right-hand side, 30 divided by 6 is a 5. What about number 8? I have 5x divided by 10 is equal to negative 2. Rewrite the equation and draw a line straight down. It's 5x divided by 10 equal to negative 2. Right now, the most outward thing is that divide by 10. So I'm going to do the opposite or the inverse, which is multiply by 10 to both sides. Once I multiply both sides by 10, the 10s on the left-hand side cancels out because the 10 over 10 becomes 1. It cancels out. What do I have left over on the left-hand side is a 5x. On my right-hand side, negative 2 times 10 is negative 20. Right now, I have 5 times x, so I have to get rid of that 5. Okay, right now it's multiplied by 5, so I'm going to divide by 5 to both sides. Once I divide by 5, you're going to see the 5 over 5 on the left-hand side cancels out. There you go. What do we get left over on the left-hand side? On the left-hand side, it's just an x. On my right-hand side, the negative 20 divided by 5 is your negative 4. Just use a calculator. Just use a calculator. Okay? Again, if any of the division or multiplication just is messing you up, just grab a calculator and just type it in. Okay? Here, we're trying to get you to practice the algebra. So, practice the algebra. Okay? But there you go. Those are all your solutions from 1 through 8 for Tuesday's homework.